The sky over Earth was clear that day, but something was different. A huge alien fleet appeared in the sky, so big that it covered the stars. Ships of all shapes and sizes hovered over Earth, casting long shadows on the ground. The people on Earth had never seen anything like it before. They stared up at the sky, wide-eyed and full of fear. The aliens were here, and they weren't hiding. They were ready to take over. The aliens came from a faraway star system, one that Earth's scientists had never even heard of. Their ships were sleek and shiny, covered in strange lights and symbols. These aliens were not just any aliens. They were advanced. They had technology that Earth could never even dream of. Their weapons were powerful enough to destroy entire cities with one blast. Their ships could fly faster than the speed of light, and their soldiers were strong and skilled. They had conquered many planets before, and they planned to do the same with Earth. As the alien ships hovered above Earth, their leaders gathered together to talk. They laughed. "Look at these humans," said one alien, his voice deep and amused. "They are weak. Their weapons are nothing compared to ours. Their ships are just old junk." The aliens had studied Earth for a long time before they arrived. They knew everything about humans, their history, their weapons, their cities, and even their old warships. The aliens found it all amusing. They looked down at the Earth's defenses and saw nothing to fear. One alien pointed at a ship on the ground, an old human warship known as the Relic. The Relic was huge and rusty, with patches of metal missing and thick smoke coming out of its old engines. It was abandoned many years ago, left to rot in a forgotten part of the world. Humans no longer used it, and no one thought it could still be useful. The aliens saw it and laughed even harder. "This ship," the alien commander said, pointing at the Relic. "This is what they think can stop us. It looks like a pile of junk." The other aliens chuckled. They couldn't understand why the humans would even keep such an old, useless ship. It didn't make sense. The Relic was no match for their power, and they knew it. The humans, however, were not laughing. They were scared. They had never faced anything like this before. The government and the military scrambled to come up with a plan, but they knew they were outmatched. Their weapons and ships were outdated. Earth's technology couldn't compare to the aliens' advanced systems. It was clear to everyone that the aliens would win. But even in the face of certain defeat, there was a strange feeling among the humans. They couldn't believe it. Surely, there must be a way to fight back. There had to be something the aliens didn't know, something the aliens couldn't predict. The alien commanders didn't worry about this. They were too busy laughing and planning how to take over Earth. They ordered their fleet to prepare for the attack. The humans were powerless. The battle would be easy. They would destroy the Earth's defenses in an instant and take control of the planet. "Start the attack," the alien leader ordered. His voice was calm, but full of confidence. He knew victory was already in their hands. As the aliens prepared to strike, they paid no attention to the small human group working in secret. This group of humans was focused on the old Relic ship, the very ship the aliens had laughed at. The humans believed that this ship could still be useful, but to the aliens, it was just another joke. The alien commanders looked at each other one last time, still chuckling at how easy it would be to take Earth. They were about to learn a very hard lesson. The aliens hovered above Earth, their massive fleet blocking out the sun. Their ships were silent, but their presence was loud. They were so confident that they had already won. Earth was nothing but a tiny planet with weak humans. They believed their advanced technology would make it easy to crush humanity in a matter of hours. They looked down at the people on the ground, but to them, the humans were not worth worrying about. The alien fleet was led by Commander Zalgar, a tall and strong alien who had conquered many planets before. He looked at the humans through his ship's huge window and smiled. "These humans are no match for us," he said. His voice was calm, but his eyes sparkled with the thrill of an easy victory. His fleet was ready. Thousands of alien ships surrounded Earth, their weapons ready to fire. Their ships were made of a strange material that could cut through anything. Their energy shields were nearly unbreakable. The aliens had studied Earth for years, and they knew everything about the planet. They knew about its weak military and outdated weapons. They knew the human armies had nothing that could stop them. Zalgar turned to his second-in-command, a smaller alien named Kalar. Kalar was nervous. "Commander, are you sure we should attack? The humans may have hidden weapons." Zalgar laughed loudly, the sound echoing through the ship. "Hidden weapons? You must be joking. Look at them. Their strongest weapon is a ship they abandoned years ago. It's just old junk. Their armies are weak, and their soldiers are outmatched. We've seen their weapons, and none of them can hurt us." Zalgar waved his hand dismissively. "The humans are nothing but ants beneath our feet. We will crush them in an instant." The alien fleet moved into position. Their ships filled the sky, blocking out the stars. Zalgar gave the order. "Prepare for the attack. We will destroy their cities one by one. Let them feel our power." The aliens launched their first wave of attack, sending powerful blasts of energy at Earth. The humans on the ground watched in fear as the sky lit up with explosions. Cities were destroyed in seconds, their buildings reduced to rubble. The aliens moved quickly, taking down Earth's defenses without any effort. On Earth, humans scrambled to react. The military tried to launch counterattacks, but it was clear that their weapons were useless against the alien fleet. Fighter jets flew into the air, but they were torn apart by the alien shields before they could even get close. Tanks fired their missiles, but they bounced off the alien ships without leaving a scratch. The humans had no chance. The aliens were just too strong. Zalgar smiled as he watched the chaos below. "See, I told you. This is too easy." He turned to his crew. "We'll destroy their major cities, then take control of their governments. This planet will be ours within the day." But even as the aliens attacked, they didn't notice something happening in the background. The humans weren't all running and hiding. Some of them were working hard in secret, trying to find a way to fight back. Among them were a group of engineers, scientists, and soldiers, and they were focused on one thing: the old warship called the Relic. The aliens had laughed at the Relic. They thought it was nothing but a broken-down ship, a relic of the past. But the humans working on it didn't see it that way. They believed that the Relic still had potential. They knew that if they could get it running, it could help turn the tide of the battle. As the aliens continued their attack, destroying everything in their path, the group of humans worked in silence. They worked day and night, fixing the warship. They were nervous, but they had a spark of hope. The Relic was old, but it was still human-made, and the humans had always been good at using their creativity to solve problems. Back in the alien command center, Zalgar continued to watch Earth's destruction. "They're no longer a threat," he said confidently. "Our victory is assured." But in the back of his mind, something nagged at him. Why hadn't the humans given up yet? Why were they still fighting, even when it seemed hopeless? He shook his head. "It doesn't matter. We will break them soon enough." The aliens were so sure of their victory that they didn't think to look deeper. They didn't know that the humans were about to surprise them in a way they never expected. The old, forgotten warship, the Relic, was about to awaken. And when it did, the aliens would have to face a power they never saw coming. As the aliens continued their attack on Earth, they were sure of one thing: nothing could stop them. Cities were falling, military forces were crushed, and humans were running in fear. The sky was filled with the bright explosions of alien weapons as entire buildings turned to dust. The aliens were confident. They had no reason to think otherwise. Earth's defenses were broken, and the victory was already in their hands. But far below, deep in an abandoned military base, something was happening. It was quiet, almost too quiet. A small group of humans had gathered around an old, forgotten warship, the Relic. This ship had been left to rust for years, its engines cold and lifeless, its weapons long unused. The humans working on it were part of a secret project. They knew the Earth's main forces had been defeated, but they didn't want to give up just yet. They believed that the old ship still held power, that there was something in the relic that could make a difference. As the humans worked on the ship, their hands moved quickly but carefully. The engineers connected wires, checked systems, and ran tests. The work was difficult, but they were determined. They couldn't let Earth fall so easily. The warship might be old, but it was still human-made. They knew that humans were good at making the most of what they had. One of the engineers, a man named Alex, wiped sweat from his brow as he stared at the large, dusty control panel in front of him. It hadn't been touched in years, and the buttons looked ancient. But there was something about the ship that made him feel hopeful. "It's not over yet," he whispered to himself. "Not if we can get this thing working." The team worked late into the night, ignoring their hunger and exhaustion. They knew the clock was ticking. The aliens were growing closer to finishing their attack. Every minute that passed, more and more people were losing their homes, their lives. But the engineers didn't give up. They had one chance. If they could bring the relic back to life, maybe, just maybe, it could make a difference. After hours of work, Alex and his team finally connected the last wire. The ship was ready. They stared at the control panel, holding their breath. Alex hesitated for a moment, then pushed the button that would start the ship's engines. For a long time, nothing happened. The ship sat still, its lights off, its engines silent. The team looked at each other, unsure. Had they failed? Was it too late? Then, with a sudden, loud hum, the ship began to shake. The lights flickered on, and the engines rumbled to life. The control panels flashed with data, and the massive warship groaned as its old systems woke up. It was like a sleeping giant coming back to life. Alex's eyes widened with disbelief. "It's working," he shouted, a smile breaking across his face. "We did it." The ship's massive thrusters flared to life, and the relic slowly rose off the ground. The engineers cheered, their hearts pounding in their chests. They had done the impossible. The old warship, once thought useless and forgotten, was now fully powered up and ready to fight. Outside, the alien fleet continued its destruction, unaware of what was happening below. The alien commanders were too focused on their attack to notice the old ship coming back to life. They didn't care. They were certain that nothing could stop them. They were wrong. The relic's weapon systems powered up next. The massive guns on the ship began to hum with energy. The old missile launchers creaked, but they were still strong. The energy shields flickered to life, glowing with a blue light that was brighter than anything the aliens had seen before. The ship's AI system, once dormant, began to process data at incredible speeds. It was as though the ship had never been forgotten. It was as if it had been waiting for this moment. Alex and his team ran to the ship's bridge. They quickly began to connect with the ship's systems, making sure everything was running smoothly. The relic wasn't just a broken-down relic of the past anymore. It was a weapon. It was a symbol of hope. It was their last chance. As the ship prepared for launch, Alex looked out at the sky through the bridge windows. He saw the alien fleet, hundreds of ships floating above Earth. They were confident, thinking they had already won. But they didn't know about the relic. They didn't know that the humans weren't finished yet. The relic slowly lifted off the ground, its engines roaring as it began to rise into the sky. Alex's heart raced. This was their chance. The battle wasn't over. Not yet. Above, the aliens were still celebrating their easy victory, unaware that the tide of the war was about to change. The relic, once thought to be an old ship of no value, was now a deadly weapon, and the aliens were about to find out just how wrong they had been. The relic soared into the sky, its engines roaring with power. It was an old ship, forgotten by time, but now it felt alive, like a beast awakened from a long sleep. The crew of engineers and soldiers, once worried and exhausted, now watched in awe as the ship's weapons powered up. The old warship wasn't just a relic anymore. It was a powerful force, ready to fight back. Alex, the lead engineer, sat in the command chair, his hands shaking with excitement as he looked at the control panel. The ship's systems were running perfectly. The once dormant weapons now hummed with energy, and the shields glowed a bright blue. The relic was ready. He couldn't believe it. He had seen this ship fall apart many times before, but now, it was a whole new machine. "Commander," a soldier said, his voice full of excitement, "we're ready for the fight. The ship's power is at full capacity." Alex nodded, his mind racing. Let's show them what Earth is made of. The alien fleet above Earth was huge, like a wall of metal and fire. Hundreds of alien ships filled the sky, each one more advanced than anything Earth had ever seen. The aliens were confident. They had already destroyed entire cities and thought that the humans were nothing more than a joke. They didn't even think twice about the old warship, the Relic. They believed it was too outdated to matter. But as the Relic rose higher into the sky, the alien commanders began to notice something. The old warship was moving with speed and power that they hadn't expected. One of the alien ships turned its sensors toward the Relic, scanning it for any signs of life or weapons. "What is that?" the alien commander muttered, his eyes narrowing. "Is that the old human ship they've been working on?" He turned to his crew, confused. It shouldn't be this powerful. They couldn't have fixed it that quickly. Before the alien commander could finish his sentence, the Relic fired. A bright beam of energy shot out from the ship's massive guns. It was so fast and powerful that the aliens barely had time to react. The beam hit one of the alien ship's dead center. There was a massive explosion, and the ship disappeared in a cloud of smoke and fire. The aliens were stunned. They had never seen anything like it. The Relic's old guns were now firing with more power than they had ever imagined. The weaponry wasn't just strong, it was almost like new. The aliens had thought the ship was a joke, but now it was clear. They had underestimated humanity. Alex smiled as he saw the explosion from the Relic's weapons. It was a huge victory for Earth. But he knew they couldn't stop now. The alien fleet was still there, and they were angry. "Target the remaining ships," Alex ordered, his voice calm but full of determination. "We have to hit them before they regroup." The ship's AI, now fully awake, quickly calculated the best angles and firing paths. The Relic's weapons fired again, this time sending a volley of missiles into the alien fleet. Each missile hit its mark with deadly precision, tearing through the alien ship's shields like they were made of paper. The aliens hadn't expected this kind of force, and their ships began to fall one by one. The alien commanders watched in horror as their fleet started to break apart. Their once unstoppable armada was being destroyed by a ship they had written off as useless. "How is this possible?" one of the commanders shouted. "These humans, they can't be this strong." The aliens tried to fight back, launching their own attacks at the Relic. But every shot that hit the Relic's shields bounced off without leaving a scratch. The ship's advanced energy shields absorbed the alien blasts, protecting it from harm. The aliens were helpless. On board the Relic, Alex and the crew were in full control. The ship moved smoothly through the air, dodging alien blasts and firing back with deadly accuracy. The ship's old weapons systems were somehow working better than ever. The humans had no idea how or why it was happening, but they didn't care. They were winning. "This is for Earth," Alex shouted as another alien ship exploded into flames. The humans were fighting back with everything they had. They weren't afraid anymore. The Relic was the key to their survival. As the battle raged on, the alien fleet began to retreat. The once confident commanders were now running in fear. The power of the Relic had completely changed the course of the fight. What the aliens had thought was a weak, outdated ship was now the most dangerous weapon in the sky. The humans on the Relic cheered as they saw the remaining alien ships turn and flee. The battle wasn't over yet, but it was clear. Humanity was not to be underestimated. The Relic had shown the aliens just how wrong they were. It wasn't just a ship. It was a symbol of humanity's will to fight, no matter the odds. And the aliens would soon learn that underestimating humanity was a mistake they would never make again. The skies above Earth were filled with chaos. The once invincible alien fleet, sure of its victory, was now retreating. The Relic, an old warship that had been abandoned for years, had become humanity's greatest weapon. The battle was far from over, but for the first time since the aliens had arrived, humans felt a spark of hope. The alien ships had been torn apart by the Relic's powerful weapons. The aliens didn't know what to make of it. They had thought they could crush Earth easily. Instead, the humans had shown them a fight they had never expected. Commander Zalgar, leader of the alien fleet, watched in disbelief as his ships were blasted one by one. His ships, once proud and powerful, were now falling to Earth's old warship. He turned to his officers, his face filled with anger and confusion. "This shouldn't be happening," he shouted. "They're using a broken ship. How can they destroy our fleet?" His second-in-command, Kalar, looked at the data, his eyes wide with fear. "Commander, we need to regroup. If we don't stop them now, they could destroy us all." Zalgar's anger flared. "No, we will not lose to these humans. We are the greatest species in the galaxy. We will crush them. Prepare for counterattack." But even as Zalgar gave his orders, the humans on the Relic were ready for the next phase of the battle. The Relic's weapons were firing nonstop, and its shields held strong against every alien blast. The crew of engineers and soldiers had done their job perfectly, and now it was up to them to keep fighting. Alex, the lead engineer, stood at the command center, watching as the alien ships scattered across the sky. They were retreating, but not without a fight. The humans weren't safe yet. The Relic had proved itself in battle, but they still had to be careful. The aliens were smart, and they wouldn't give up easily. "Captain, we've destroyed most of their outer fleet," one of the soldiers reported, "but they're organizing a counterattack. They're coming back for another strike." Alex clenched his fists. "We can't let them regroup. We need to finish this now. Fire the main cannons again." The Relic's cannons powered up, charging with energy. The ship's AI calculated the best angle for the attack. The human crew was nervous, but they knew this was their chance. They fired, sending another powerful blast into the alien fleet. The blast hit an alien ship directly in the center, causing a massive explosion. The ship disintegrated into nothing, and the aliens scrambled to react. They were now facing the full force of humanity's only hope, the Relic. The ship, once thought useless, was now leading Earth's defense against the strongest alien force ever seen. The aliens retaliated with everything they had. They launched a barrage of missiles at the Relic, their weapons strong enough to tear apart most ships. The missiles streaked through the air, heading straight for the Relic's shields. But the shields held. The missiles exploded against the glowing blue barrier, their energy absorbed by the ship's defenses. The Relic shook with the force of the explosions, but it did not fall. The humans cheered as they saw the alien missiles fail to do any damage. "We can't stop now," Alex said, his voice full of determination. "Keep pushing forward. Don't let them get away." The Relic's weapons fired again, this time sending a wave of laser blasts into the heart of the alien fleet. The blasts hit with such power that entire ships were ripped apart. The aliens couldn't keep up. They had never faced anything like this before. Commander Zalgar watched in horror as his fleet fell apart before his eyes. His ships were being destroyed one by one. The humans were relentless. There was no retreat now. The aliens had underestimated humanity, and now they were paying the price. "They can't be this strong," Zalgar roared. "These humans, they're different." But it was too late. The tide of battle had turned, and the aliens could do nothing to stop it. The Relic's weapons continued to fire, and with each shot, more alien ships were destroyed. As the battle raged on, the humans on the Relic felt a rush of adrenaline. They were fighting not just for their planet, but for their future. The battle was far from over, but they were winning. They could feel the power of the ship beneath them, and they knew they weren't alone. They were part of something bigger now. They were part of humanity's fight for survival. In space above Earth, the alien fleet was in disarray. Ships were destroyed, and the remaining aliens were scattering, trying to regroup. But it was clear now. They had underestimated the humans. They had thought Earth would be an easy target, a small planet with weak defenses. They were wrong. The Relic, powered by human determination, had turned the tide of the war. The aliens had come to conquer, but now they were facing an enemy unlike any they had ever known. Humanity was fighting back, and the aliens were starting to realize that Earth was not a planet they could easily take. The battle above Earth was far from over, but the humans had already proven something important. They weren't going to give up without a fight. The Relic had turned the tide of the war, and now the humans were using more than just power. They were using strategy. After the initial shock of the alien fleet's retreat, Alex and the crew aboard the Relic had begun to think ahead. They knew the aliens were regrouping, and they wouldn't stay down for long. The aliens would come back stronger, smarter, and more determined. The humans couldn't just rely on firepower. They needed to outsmart the aliens. "We've done well so far," Alex said, his voice calm but serious as he stared at the holographic display of the battlefield. "But we can't keep this up forever. We need a plan." On the bridge, the crew members were busy analyzing the alien fleet. They watched as the remaining alien ships formed a defensive line in space, their shields raised and weapons aimed at the Relic. The aliens were preparing for a final attack. They were desperate to crush the humans, and they wouldn't back down easily. "We know they're going to try to hit us all at once," one of the soldiers, Lieutenant Harris, said. "They'll use their biggest weapons to break through our shields." Alex nodded. "Exactly. And we know their ships are strong, but not invincible. The Relic can take hits, but we need to get close enough to hit them with everything we've got. But if we charge in blindly, they'll tear us apart. We need to be smarter than that." The crew was silent for a moment as they considered their options. Alex's mind was racing, thinking about every possibility. Then an idea sparked. He stood up and turned to the team. "I have a plan. It's risky, but it could work." He laid out the strategy. The Relic, with its powerful weapons, needed to get close enough to hit the aliens hard. But the aliens would expect that. They'd be ready for a direct attack. So the humans would use misdirection. The Relic would break into small groups, each pretending to be a separate ship. They'd move in different directions, drawing the alien fleet's attention and splitting their firepower. "This will confuse them," Alex explained. "While they're distracted, we'll hit them from unexpected angles. We'll attack in waves, not all at once. They won't know which ship to focus on." The plan was risky, but it was their best chance. The aliens had relied on brute force, but humans were known for their ability to think on their feet, to adapt, and to surprise their enemies. As the Relic's crew began to put the plan into motion, the tension in the air was thick. Everyone knew how dangerous it was. One wrong move, and they could be destroyed. But there was no turning back now. The future of Earth depended on this strategy. "Ready to go, sir," Lieutenant Harris said, her fingers tapping the console. The countdown was on. "Let's do this," Alex replied. "Remember, we have to stay one step ahead. Don't give them a chance to react." The Relic split into several smaller groups, each one heading in a different direction. The alien fleet, unaware of the humans' plan, focused on the largest ship, the real Relic. They fired everything they had at it, trying to break through the shields. But the Relic wasn't alone anymore. The smaller ships, each mimicking the movements of the Relic, began to circle around the alien fleet. The aliens tried to track them, but it was impossible. The ships moved so quickly, and in so many directions that the alien commanders couldn't figure out which one to target first. One by one, the small ships began to fire at the alien fleet from different angles. The aliens, now spread thin, had to choose where to defend, and they couldn't keep up. The humans were confusing them, forcing them to waste their energy on targets that weren't even real. Alex watched the display, his heart racing. It's working. They don't know what to do. The alien commanders were panicking. The humans were using tactics they had never seen before. The once strong alien fleet was now disorganized and vulnerable. Focus fire on the human ships, Commander Xalgar ordered, his voice full of fury. We can't let them play us like this. But it was too late. The Relic, using its misdirection to its advantage, fired its powerful weapons into the heart of the alien fleet. The blasts tore through the alien shields and hit their ships directly. The aliens tried to regroup, but they couldn't stop the wave of attacks coming from every direction. With each blast, another alien ship was destroyed. The humans weren't just fighting with strength. They were fighting with their minds, using tactics to outsmart their enemies. The Relic had become more than just a weapon. It had become a symbol of humanity's ingenuity. We're winning, Lieutenant Harris said, her voice full of awe. We're really doing this. Alex didn't respond right away. He was focused, watching as the alien fleet began to break apart. But in his mind, he couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. Humanity wasn't just surviving anymore. They were fighting back and winning. The alien fleet, now in chaos, started to retreat. Their ships were damaged, and their commanders were losing control. The humans had done it. They had turned the tide of the battle with strategy, intelligence, and sheer determination. As the last of the alien ships fled, the humans on the Relic cheered. They had fought not just with strength, but with brains. And now they had proven something important. Humanity could win this war, not just through power, but through smart thinking and strategy. The sky above Earth was no longer filled with the sounds of war. The battle had ended, but the memory of the fight would stay with everyone for a long time. The alien fleet, once so powerful and certain of victory, had been defeated. The Relic, the old warship thought to be useless, had become a symbol of humanity's strength and willpower. The aliens had underestimated Earth, and now they were paying the price. As the alien ships retreated into space, Alex stood on the bridge of the Relic, watching the empty sky. His heart was racing, but there was also a sense of relief. They had done it. They had fought back and won. It was hard to believe, but it was true. Humanity had faced its greatest threat and come out victorious. We did it, Lieutenant Harris said, her voice filled with disbelief. She looked around at the crew, seeing the same feeling on their faces. They had been part of something incredible, something no one would ever forget. Alex nodded, but his mind was already thinking ahead. This is just the beginning. The aliens might have run, but they'll be back. We can't stop now. We need to be ready for whatever comes next. He wasn't wrong. Even though the aliens had retreated, the war was far from over. The battle above Earth had been won, but the galaxy was vast, and the aliens wouldn't just give up. They had underestimated humanity once. They wouldn't make that mistake again. The fight for survival wasn't over, but humanity had learned something important that day. They could stand up to any challenge. The Relic's crew had shown the world that humanity wasn't weak. They had fought with everything they had, using not just weapons but intelligence and strategy. The aliens might have had more advanced technology, but humans had something that the invaders couldn't understand: a fierce will to survive and a clever mind that could adapt to any situation. As Alex looked out at the stars, he felt something else rising within him: hope. The Earth was not the only planet in the galaxy, and the victory they had just won could mean something bigger. If humanity could defeat the aliens once, they could do it again. They could stand up for their world, their future, and their place in the universe. Captain, a voice interrupted his thoughts. It was the communications officer. "We've received a message from the United Earth Defense Council. They want to speak with you." Alex turned and nodded. "Put them through." The screen flickered, and a familiar face appeared. It was General Rivera, the leader of the United Earth Defense Council. She looked relieved, but also serious. "Alex, we've been watching," she said. "The world is in shock right now. The alien fleet has been defeated. You and your crew have done something incredible." "We were just doing our job, General," Alex replied, his voice steady. "We won because we didn't give up, because we worked together. But we know the war isn't over." General Rivera nodded. "You're right. The aliens will return. But today we've proven something to them. We've shown them that humanity won't go down without a fight. And that means everything." Alex felt a surge of pride. Humanity had won a battle, yes, but it was more than that. It was about showing the galaxy that Earth was a force to be reckoned with. "We're not just survivors, General," Alex said. "We're fighters, and we'll keep fighting." General Rivera smiled, a look of respect in her eyes. "You've given us hope, Alex. You and your crew have given humanity a future. We will rebuild, and we will be ready for whatever comes next." Alex looked at the crew around him. They had fought hard, and they had won. But the journey was far from over. The aliens might have fled, but the future of Earth was still uncertain. One victory didn't mean the war was over. There were still challenges ahead. But now, humanity had something it hadn't had before: hope. "We're ready, General," Alex said, his voice firm. "We'll face whatever comes together." As the message ended, Alex turned back to the view of Earth. The blue planet, so beautiful and fragile, looked peaceful from space. But Alex knew it wouldn't always be peaceful. The aliens would come again. They would test humanity's strength. But now humanity knew what it was capable of. The victory wasn't just about defeating the aliens. It was about what that victory meant. It meant that humanity had the courage to stand up and fight for their future. It meant they could take on the challenges ahead and find hope even in the darkest of times. For the first time in a long while, Alex felt confident. Earth had a future, and it was a future that humanity would fight for. Together, they had won this battle, and together, they would face whatever came next.